there's so much I've already said with this duel. Some of you may be sitting here, watching this, saying, "Man, this is boring, can't he just get on to Dark Sides of Dimensions already?" Or, "Why are you wasting my time? Just get on to Dark Sides of Dimensions already." Just wait. It'll come soon. For now, let's get back to the main plot. Tissue boxes at the ready. I'm looking at you, Atem fangirls. So last time, we discussed Seto Kaiba's character development across the entirety of Duel Monsters. And I have to be honest, I was kind of nervous. I didn't know how well or badly that video would be received by the public. And so, I was producing it while worrying in the back of my head practically the whole way through. Thankfully, it seems it was well received, and you guys really seemed to enjoy it, like I did while I was making it. So thank you. Anyway, back to the duel. So, the Egyptian god cards have been destroyed by Yugi. I already gushed about how amazing that was in my last video, so I won't do that here. So, let's move on. Once the god cards are gone, Atem bounces back by fusion summoning Chimera, the flying mythical beast, and destroying one of Yugi's monsters. Yugi bounces back by tribute summoning the Buster Blader, and destroying Chimera, thus evening the playing field. Get used to that. That happens a lot in this duel. However, this leads to an amazing twist, during which Atem plays Awakening from Beyond, which allows him to bring a card from his graveyard back to his hand. The suspense is great, but it's also amazing seeing Yugi think strategically regarding the card choice. It really shows him coming into his own and becoming a great duelist in his own right. One may say that he's the Duel King? Huh? Okay, that was a bad one, I'm sorry. Then, Atem drops one of two bombshells, summoning Swift Gaia the Fierce Knight, which is able to do because, as he mentions, it's the only card on his field. Atem then drops the second bombshell, which doesn't really make any sense to me. At least not on a critiquing level.
Preparing for this, I have known from the very beginning that we would get to this point. It was simple. From the moment I chose the cards in my deck, I knew the course that this duel would take. For although I held the three most powerful monsters in existence, I knew that I needed more. Yugi, what I'm saying is, I knew you would defeat the Egyptian gods!
Okay, let's back up here. So, Atem predicted that Yugi would defeat the god cards. The Egyptian god cards. Okay. But, he also knew that Yugi would destroy every single monster of his up to this point? What, did he somehow steal the powers of the Millennium Eye while he was in Egypt off-screen during Pharaoh's memories? Anyway. Yugi sacrifices his Witch of the Black Forest, and brings out the Summoned Skull, and I have to say, this is a welcome return for it. After all, we haven't seen Summoned Skull since Duelist Kingdom, so seeing it here is a real treat. With the skull, Yugi destroys Gaia, leaving Atem wide open. Then, Atem says something else that really doesn't make any sense whatsoever. He says that the next card he'll draw is the exact one that he needs. He then predicts the card, summons it, and it turns out to be the right card that he needed. Forgive me while I go on this little rant. So, let's do some digging into the actual card game for a second. Prior to the conclusion of Duel Monsters in 2006, I'm not really sure what they're doing now, it was required that each player have a 40 card limit per legal deck. Legal as in tournament legal. Which, in the video games at least, was later increased to a max of 80 per deck. I know this isn't a tournament that we're watching, and it's just the animated series, but bear with me. From the beginning of the duel, meaning from episode 221 to now, Atem has used a total of 18 cards. Subtract that from the assumed 40 that each of them had at the start of the duel, and you get a total of 22 cards left. With that in mind, Atem has a 1 in 22 chance of drawing Big Shield Gardna. However, at the beginning of the duel, they cut and shuffled their opponent's decks, mixing the cards up. So even if Atem somehow managed to sense the Gardna in his deck, it still borders on cheating, since there's no way he could predict what card he was going to play without some kind of caveat. Now don't get me wrong, it's not as bad as when my Valentine used perfume on her cards back in Duelist Kingdom, or, again in Duelist Kingdom, when Bandit Keith literally hid cards up his sleeve to cheat, but it's still suspect to me. Maybe I'm thinking too deeply on this. And don't get me wrong, Ashizu, Merrick, and the others try their best to explain it to the audience, but I'm just not buying it myself, unfortunately. This whole influencing fate with his own will thing is just a little too much for me to swallow. Anyway, back to things that actually make sense. But don't worry, we'll be coming back to the whole will thing in a bit. So, Yugi destroys Big Shield Gardna, leaving Atem wide open once again. See, I told you that happened a lot. Atem draws and plays the Dark Magic Curtain, allowing him to summon the Dark Magician, with a cameo appearance by Mahad, at the cost of half his life points. So basically, they keep evening the playing field over and over again. But, unlike fights in Dragon Ball Super, I'm looking at you, Ultra Instinct Goku vs. Jiren, you never get bored because you're invested in the characters, and are at the edge of your seat with each attack that's thrown. That's a lot better, in my opinion, than simply watching characters who are really caricatures of their original selves punching an immovable object, until the plot magically allows them to win through a Deus Ex Machina. But anyway, once Mahad, or the Dark Magician rather, is summoned, Atem enhances him with the Book of Secret Arts, and Mahad then destroys Yugi's Curse of Dragon. This, on an emotional level, raises the stakes even more, and Yugi actually sums it up perfectly when he states that in order to save Atem, he's gonna have to destroy his most trusted monster. Atem states that defeating the Dark Magician is Yugi's true test. He then proceeds to destroy both of Yugi's monsters, leaving him wide open. Yugi summons the Block Man in defense mode, which completely contradicts Little Kuribo when he's upset at characters in the sequel series, Yu-Gi-Oh! GX, for doing the exact same thing. If he's watching this, I've got something to say to him. Dude, the characters summon their monsters in defense mode way back in the original series. Maybe you forgot or something, but here's proof of it right here in this scene. On a more practical level, is anyone else getting LEGO flashbacks? I mean, tell me that Block Man is not based on a LEGO set. Yugi then plays Dark Sarcophagus and places a card inside, to which Taya makes a great observation.
That box looks just like the one the Millennium Puzzle came from. So the same symbol that brought them together might split them apart.
He then sacrifices both of his block monsters. He was able to basically make them into two monsters thanks to a card he played, in order to play Gandora, the Dragon of Destruction, which, if you'll recall, is the same card that he used in order to defeat Yami Bakura during the climax of the last arc. However, Gandora's special ability doesn't work due to Atem's trap card, Dark Illusion, protecting the Dark Magician from Gandora's effect. Yugi summons his Silent Magician, and Atem attacks, only for Yugi to counter with one of the most impressive strategies I think I've ever seen.
Pharaoh, if your spirit's ever gonna be free, I have to win this duel! I activate my magic card! Spell Textbook! Now, by discarding every card in my hand, I can draw one from my deck, and if it's a magic card, I can use it right away! Since my hand's empty, I have nothing to discard! Now I activate this, Card of Sanctity! So we both have to draw until we're each holding 6 cards in our hand! That's not all! Next I activate my Magician's special effect! With every card you draw, my Silent Magician's attack strength increases by 500 points!
and I just picked up 5 new cards.
Exactly! So my silent magician now has 3,500 attack points! Now, back to the duel! I believe your dark magician was about to attack?
The tension, the feels. It's so much fun just watching these guys go at it. However, Atem activates Magicians Unite, which, as the name implies, literally unites his 2 magicians. To clear things up, he summoned the Dark Magician Girl earlier on. But anyway, as the name implies, Magicians Unite literally unites the Dark Magician with the Dark Magician Girl, making them strong enough so that Atem still loses points, but not enough to lose the game entirely. Now they're really even. They each have 200 points left. Atem states that this will be his final turn. He activates Monster Reborn, using it to resurrect Slifer the Sky Dragon. However, the card that Yugi hid in the sarcophagus was Monster Reborn, negating the effect of Atem's card and sending Slifer back to the graveyard. However, now that Atem is left wide open, Yugi and we, the audience, really don't want what's about to happen. But Yugi pulls it together, and Atem is finally defeated. I have to say, this is a bittersweet victory, which I'll get into during the analysis portion. For now, get your tissues ready.
Yugi, a champion doesn't belong on his knees. You achieved a great victory for us both.
I was focusing so hard on playing the game that I forgot what winning this duel would actually mean. By defeating you, I've sent you away.
No, you have opened the door for me. Thanks to you, my spirit can finally be at rest once again. I'll be back where I belong. Fate brought the 2 of us together for a reason. We've protected mankind from the return of the Shadow Games, and we've both grown tremendously along the way.
I'm gonna miss you.
You do realize we'll never truly be apart, right?
Huh?
The gift of kindness you've given me, and the courage I've given you, will remain with us, and that will forever bind us together.
So, the Eye of Rujat reacts since the duel is over. Atem states his name, and the Eye grants him passage into the spirit world. I can't help but think that the others are channeling the audience during their final moments with Atem, and in my opinion, this is where the voice acting performances and the characters themselves really start to become something special. I mean, more so than they were already.
Exactly, Pharaoh. I know walking through that door means your spirit'll finally be free, and it's all for the best, but it doesn't seem fair. I mean, I feel like we were all just getting to know you. In fact, you were just beginning to get to know yourself, and now you're being taken away from us. I know we should be happy for you, but it's really hard to do that when you're losing your best friend and you just don't understand why it has to be that way.
I guess there are some things we're not supposed to understand. Just look at me. I go through half my life not understanding what's going on. But I know that true friends may be hard to leave, but they're impossible to forget. And even though his stay wasn't as long as we would have liked, we're lucky we knew him at all. Hey, Pharaoh! I hate to break the terrible news to you, but you're not going anywhere, because everything you've given us stays right here in our hearts.
Right.
Like we always say, it's your move!
Once he's back in the spirit world, Atem reunites with his inner circle from the last arc, and the door closes, sealing him off forever. The tomb then begins to collapse, with the Millennium items and the Millennium Stone being the first to go during the cave-in. Yugi and the others make it out okay, with Ishizu stating that since Atem's spirit is now free, the items have been permanently sealed. We'll get back to that. Yugi then states that sometimes the ending of one adventure is just the beginning of another. That's where the dub ends. The Japanese version has an additional scene that was cut from the dub for some reason. I'm gonna play it here so that you guys can see, which will then be followed by my final analysis.
じいちゃん、い ってきます。
おい、気をつけてな。
ユーギおはよ
おはよう、みんな。これは特別なファラオの物語ではない。誰にでも物語はあり、それは光の中に完結する物語だ。そして僕の物語は始まったばかりなんだ。
Alright. Now I can move on to... Wait. What's happening? What's going on? Ah, my head! Ah! What's going on? What is with this pain? Ah!
Dragon, your time has come.
No! Get out of my head!
Your pathetic attempt at resisting is useless. Now, it's my turn. You will submit, and none of your precious childhood subscribers or supporters will save you.
I'm not going down without a fight, and you can't make me!
That's where you're wrong, mortal. I've waited long enough. After 3 long years, the destruction of your critiquing skills and your very channel itself will finally begin.
Someone save me! Hey guys, thank you so much for watching the video. If you feel like it deserves it, please give this video a thumbs up, like it, share it on social media. Also, if you're a fan of Yu-Gi-Oh! And anime in general, please go on ahead and smash that subscribe button. And if you want to donate to the channel in order for me to get these videos out to you at a quicker pace, then you can do so in 2 different ways. There's a PayPal link as well as a Patreon link. Both of those are going to be in the description below. And you can become a Patreon for as little as $1 a month. I'm still working on rewards to give out to my patrons, but rest assured they will be coming. I just have to decide what exactly I'm going to do. Because I reached my Patreon milestone of I'm going to be doing a series of videos in which I go in depth on the reviewing process as a whole. So feel free. So look forward to those in due time. And yeah, leave your thoughts in the comment section. Let me know what you think in general. And yeah, I'll see you guys later. And until the next one, God bless. Later.